Were these two talking about me? Emily, my pregnant and outgoing assistant, was taking Brandy, my replacement, around the office, introducing her. Heading up an all-female accounting department, I jokingly referred to myself as a typical male. Mindful of the #MeToo movement and sexual harassment in general, I always kept my distance from the 15 women who make up the department. So, unless Emily was talking about another man, she must have been referring to me, Ed Black, 34, sandy-colored hair and skinny. There's kind of a two-way stick in the word nice guy, isn't there? On one hand, it means someone who is pleasant to be around, who does the right thing and watches his manners. However, especially when the term is used by women, it often carries a connotation of weakness, a bit of weakness. I wondered feverishly if my wife agreed. Whenever in our 12 years together, whenever we had to decide, for example, where to eat, I let her choose. Same with where to go on vacation. Those things mattered far less to me than being with her and our two girls, ages 8 and 10. Same thing with work. Don't let anyone tell you that accounting isn't hard and fast. There are many ways to freshen up the numbers, and before making decisions, I always listen to the people who have to live with those decisions day in and day out. Rarely did I just force a decision on them. So yes, I could understand Emily's description of me. However, I was curious about the context. Did she say I was a nice guy, in a complimentary or derogatory way? So I did what a wimp would do. I stopped, lurked, and eavesdropped. A bad move, and in hindsight, probably a mistake. With a note of disapproval in her voice, Emily continued. One thing you should know about and protect him from is his wife Melinda, who is cheating on him with our CFO Horace Gregson. She usually calls her husband around 11 a few days a week, ostensibly to say hello, but really she's checking to see if he'll stay in the office while Horace comes over to their house. If I told him, it would break his heart. I can't do that to him because he's such a good guy. There was silence as my new assistant obviously took the news stunningly. Emily obviously thought I was a wuss, cute of course, but a wuss nonetheless. Did she really think I would break down and melt when I learned that my 33-year-old brown-eyed brunette had become a cheating whore? Was she trying to protect our esteemed CFO? What the hell? I silently backed away and returned, coughing slightly to announce my approach. Ladies, is Emily filling you in on all the gossip and intrigue surrounding the palace? Both laughed a little nervously, and Brandy said, You seem to have a competent and dedicated staff. And since she's leaving, she didn't even need to gild the lilies. I'm looking forward to taking the reins tomorrow and working with the team. I smiled. Our CPA firm has hired a new IT person and I have to go meet with him. I probably won't be back. So I'll see you tomorrow, no training. Emily, remember Friday at Bangers. Our department had a farewell party planned after hours. I didn't have to meet any of the new IT guys. I stopped at a mall a block from my office and called Simon, my older brother and best buddy. We need to talk, like right now. He tried to add a little humor. Hey, buddy, you're not my wife. Which you can be thankful for. How soon can you get home? It's an emergency. Shit, all right, bro. I'm on my way. 2 years ago, his best friend got cheated on, and I wanted the contact info for the private investigator he hired to nail the bitch. That was my official reason. Unspoken was my need for a brotherly hug. After our parents died, he was my only family and the only person on the planet I could trust. I rang his doorbell and his clearly concerned wife, Sandy, opened it. After a brief hug, she said, Come in. Simon's on his way. How's it going? Let's wait until he gets here. Then I only have to tell everything once. Is it that bad? Blue moon while we wait? About 10 minutes later, we heard the garage door open and Simon came out of the garage. After the requisite brotherly hug, we moved into the living room. I heard less than an hour ago Melinda was cheating with my boss, in my bed. The only sound in the stunned silence was my sobbing. Holy shit, Simon said. I can't believe it. Sandy followed him. Neither can I, Sandy, I added, shaking my head. Are you sure? With a sigh, I raised my hands with palms up. Until I see it with my own eyes, I can't be sure, but I am. What are you gonna do? I don't know. Murder? Suicide? Murder-suicide? Any suggestions? Hey, bro, slow the bus down. There's gotta be a better way to respond. I learned from Derek's divorce that there's no fault in our state. That means you can divorce Mel's ass without proof or reason. You just say you want a divorce, divide the assets, and move on with your life. So you don't need proof or anything like that. Just walk away and move on. I almost screamed in horror. What? Simon, behave yourself. Ed's in pain. Do you love Melinda? Sandy handed me a box of tissues. Hell yeah, if it weren't for that, I would have easily kicked her ass and moved on. I thought we were good. It felt like my heart had been ripped out and gutted with a butcher's axe. All of her subtle outbursts over the past few months suddenly make sense. Her new hero has everything I need. He's younger, smarter, more attractive, richer. As far as I know, he has a bigger tool, and of course he has a position above mine. Why make do with an underling when you can have the boss? Shit. Simon straightened up and put on a business-like air. All right, then you'll have to confront her. But you can only do that with hard evidence. If you challenge her now, she'll do the politician's dance. Deny, deny, deny. And humiliate you further by saying you're an insecure little weenie. All I could do was nod. I wasn't even angry yet. I was just stunned, devastated, and most importantly, hurt. This was a woman I would have given my life for, and her gratitude for it was like this? Continuing, Simon asked, Do you still have baby monitors? Yes, but they're in the basement somewhere, and it'll take a year to find them. All right, Ed. Time to go shopping. Sandy, do you want us to pick up a pizza on the way back? Thanks, but I'm making spaghetti casserole. Good luck. Simon's experience with his buddy's divorce manifested itself in the places we shopped and the things we bought. When I got home, I left everything in the trunk and played daddy as usual. The kids yapped and chattered as usual, and we helped Mom clean up the kitchen and run the dishwasher. Then I took my time going over the girls' homework while Melinda retired to our bedroom. After the girls read their stories and fell asleep, I went to my home office and sat down at the computer. Melinda, who handled accounts receivable for the office supply company we used, had her own nook in the kitchen, though she never brought work home and used her phone for almost everything. I Googled divorce until I was dizzy. The more I read, the more my shock turned to anger. Melinda's selfishness hurt wildly, and they accuse men of thinking with their little heads, and what was she thinking? Around 10, when we usually go to bed, the bitch peeked into my office. You going to bed? How did she do that? Her voice was as loving and casual as it was every day. The smile on her face matched the loving look in her eyes. How long had she spread her legs in front of my boss? And why in front of him specifically? Okay, he had more money and other things, but he had a family too. 3 kids. What did my Melinda see in him that made her jeopardize our lives and happiness? I just didn't understand it. No, I have something I'm working on. I won't be long, but I need to finish it. Okay. Good night. She gave me a kiss and left. When did this happen? In all these years, neither of us had ever sent each other a kiss in our house. We always walked over and kissed each other on the lips. Mentally, I slapped myself on the forehead. When was the last time I took her out for a nice dinner, not on Valentine's Day or something where it was expected? Slap, slap, slap. I was taking her for granted. Of course, she was taking me for granted too, but I wasn't controlling what I could. I'm gonna have to fix that. If I wanted us to stay together, would we? To determine that, I needed to know more. After an hour, I suspected she'd fallen asleep, so I quietly snuck into the kitchen, took her phone off the charging stand, opened it, and looked through her contacts. No Horace Gregson. But I saw a Ganna Gentry I didn't know, and my heart sank inside me. She'd just spoofed a woman using the same initials. Dozens of emails, many using our company's email server. I copied them all to my personal email account. Setting up a clone on my phone, I checked her text messages. Same thing. About 4 months ago, as far as I could tell in the limited time I had. Again, I copied everything, which took a long time. Then I went back and deleted all traces of my actions. When I was done, I put her phone back, turned off the light, and went back to my office. The next day, I faked a cough and sounded sick. After everyone left, I started going through emails and text messages, which was slow going. Apparently, they hooked up at my company's last Christmas party. I noticed that the two of them were socializing, but no more than spouses usually do on such occasions. However, judging from the emails, something clicked, especially with Melinda. Horace was what I would call a typical flirtatious man, but Melinda's responses were dangerously close to the edge of acceptability. She had become a patron of our town's art museum, and he, at her insistence, had as well. I never paid attention to Melinda's sudden interest in art and, frankly, was grateful that she kept me out of it. She told me that she had been asked to volunteer on the finance committee, and since she had regular contact with many doctors, the barely voiced idea was that as a woman she could get more of them to donate. However, I learned from emails and text messages that she had not joined any committee except the Horace Dick Admiration Committee, which rotated between the Hilton, Marriott, and Westin hotels, apparently to avoid establishing a pattern. Until they had the brilliant idea to save money by desecrating our marriage bed. Damn it. Sneaky, lying slut. But, the trail involved something more nefarious than date nights and nude photos. Horace, I learned, was skimming money from our company and using Melanie to do it. A light bulb went off in my head. Horace's flirting and seduction of my wife had nothing to do with her sex appeal. After enticing her with an endless stream of flattery and several dates where he went out of his way to bring her to bliss, he had romanticized the idea of the two of them leaving their spouses and disappearing with a few stolen millions to live an idyllic life with no problems and only caring about what positions to add to their sexual repertoire. At first, Melinda treated the idea as a joke. He didn't push it, but waited for her greed and narcissism to do everything for him. He had apparently set up a company in the Cayman Islands, where else, with a proper bank account. Apparently, she started using fake invoices to bill our company, which he authorized for direct payment to the Cayman Islands bank account. Not only was I shocked at the blatant criminality of this, but what really pissed me off was that he was using my department, most likely to blame it all on my alleged incompetence if it was discovered. Furious indignation in no way described my reaction. The bastard had set me up to go to jail while he himself stole my wife. Seeing his plan from afar, I doubted he'd take her with him. Honestly, Melinda is a remarkable woman, or should I say was, but she could hardly be called stunning anymore. After 2 childbirths and not so intense exercise, she still had a few unwieldy pounds. Her complexion was pale, and time was unbeatable in its wrinkle-painting campaign. She no doubt knew this, which might explain the readiness with which she gave in to his flattery. In that case, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Horace decided to dump the loser's wife or maybe even kill her when he absconded with the millions she'd helped him collect. I snorted. Not on me, you cheating asshole. What could I have done? Who could I talk to? The only lawyer I knew was our company's corporate lawyer. Sure, he should have been brought in, but if I just approached him, the first thing he'd do would be to run to Horace, handing him a knife to kill and bury me, career-wise, if not literally. I called Simon again. Dude, things are getting tense. I took the day off, and you should too. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but we need to talk about serious crime, life and death. Meet me at the Horse and Trough, now. Okay, but it better be something serious and not just a crybaby session. Taking a booth, I laid out a long and convoluted plot. Whistling, he leaned back in his chair. I take back my comment about whininess. Apology accepted, I said. I need the name of a divorce lawyer shark and a corporate lawyer shark. The first one is easy. Brenda Hawkins makes every divorce lawyer tremble, but I have no idea about the second one. Well, let's start with her, and maybe she knows someone who swims in the same waters. After several meetings with attorneys, Miss Hawkins called the FBI's white-collar crime unit, who took the initiative. They had the means to trace all the accounts and their numbers, but it didn't happen quickly. Fortunately, they had solid evidence that I was to be the innocent framed victim, not the perpetrator. That was a huge relief. One morning, our doorbell rang one morning. Distracted by the morning rush, Melinda opened it. Melinda Black? Yes, how can I help you? I'm Special Agent Hubert Farram, and you're under arrest for... And he went on with an impressive list of heinous white-collar crimes and her Miranda rights. Luckily, she was dressed for work, so she didn't have to go to the police station in her pajamas. Honey, this is a huge misunderstanding. Can you arrange a lawyer and bail for me? Looking at her coldly, I just said, No, call your buddy Horace. He's got more money. A bomb of hysteria went off as she swore, yelled, and squealed at me, accusing me of things I'd never even heard of. The agent looked at me with a strange, puzzled expression, as if I was some kind of ogre for not supporting my woman. With a simple shrug, I explained. She's cheating on me with my boss, and the two of them are stealing money from our company, planning to pin it all on me while they flee the country with their stolen millions. Melinda immediately stopped her cat howl, shocked at the calmness with which I had uncovered their conspiracy. What she doesn't know is that once all the money is secured and transferred elsewhere, he plans to kill her and keep all the money for himself. He has another whore in Costa Rica who is happy without the money, just with him. That last part I just made up and added to torture her. To say Melinda was shocked would be an understatement, and she unleashed another stream of protests and insults. I just waved the agent and the arrested woman off and closed the door. Epilogue. The FBI, local cops, and the company owner worked together to get all the facts. They had the company phones tapped, so there was no problem convicting my boss and wife. She got 3 years and he got 12. My wife and I got an easy divorce, as did Gregson's wife and his ass. It took me over a year to get over losing my love and getting stabbed in the back. I helped Gregson's wife a lot, not sexually, but with conversation. All of our 5 children got along well. We both appreciated having someone to talk to. However, nature being what it is, talking eventually led to more of the same, because I'm such a nice guy.